Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering this week and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Westwood, and I'm here today with senior political correspondent David Drucker. And David, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin obviously won an upset victory last year, is already showing signs that he's potentially positioning himself for a 2024 run. What's he been up to, and do you think he has a chance of breaking through?
Well, it's a really good question. He's going to be traveling to several states over the next few months, stumping for Republican candidates on the midterm election ballot. They believe, his team believes, that he's particularly versatile, right? You can send him to deep red territory because he's conservative. He's not a centrist by any stretch. He's been governing as a conservative, and he has, they believe, broad appeal with staunch Republicans. But you can also send him to blue territory, swing districts, swing states, because he's not offensive the way some of these populists are that have come up in the era of Donald Trump, of course led by Donald Trump, a particularly pugilistic populist himself. So they see him as somebody who can really hit the range of districts and states where Republicans are competing and hoping to win congressional majorities this fall. In that way, they feel like he is a cut above a lot of the other Republicans looking to run for president, who are well positioned to appeal to Republican primary voters, but don't have enough general election appeal as of yet. And so they want to see how voters respond. Is their theory correct? Does he like the travel? Does he like campaigning outside of Virginia, particularly while he does have a day job now, which he didn't when he was running for governor? And then I think, from the response they get and how Governor Youngkin feels about the whole process, they'll make a decision on 2024. After that, remember, he cannot run for re-election. Virginia allows governors to serve multiple terms, but not consecutively. So he'll be done in 2025, and then he'll have to find something to do. And, if he happened to get another job in 2024, that would ensure that he wasn't hurting for activity over the next 10 years or so.
Abortion has sort of scrambled the politics of a lot of different races this November, but it's thrown a spotlight on statewide races, and particularly gubernatorial races. What are some of the ones that you're watching, and how might abortion play into those?
Right, a lot of action in the states all of a sudden, right? So you've got a number of Republican states that are going different directions on abortion, at least technically, because you have states like Oklahoma, Texas, that have very stringent abortion regulations. Then you have states like Florida and New Hampshire that are, focusing on banning late-term abortions. Florida bans abortion at 15 weeks, which kind of gets you through the first trimester. Other states are going to be at conception or at fetal heartbeat states. Some states, like New Hampshire, allow for exceptions for rape and incest. Others, like Oklahoma, Texas, I know the governor of Nebraska, Pete Ricketts, outgoing governor, but he wants to pass legislation in Nebraska that would not include exceptions for rape and incest. So then you have that debate over what are the exceptions, right? They all seem to agree on exceptions to preserve the health of the mother, life of the mother. They all seem to agree on not criminalizing the mother for seeking to obtain an abortion or obtaining an abortion, and instead penalizing doctors and other people that assist in the abortion. I think the key question here is not so much how this impacts 2022. You have President Biden with horrible approval ratings. Even Democrats are increasingly unhappy with him. You have skyrocketing inflation, high energy costs. All these things point to a Republican wave in November. And everything that is happening on abortion in these Republican states is not really going to be a reality until we kind of get to the end of the year, right? But heading into 2024, the next presidential election, you're going to have had several months, a year or two, with Republican states and their abortion restrictions, people's reaction to that, people able to internalize what that means to them. Democrats could really do some damage against Republicans in 2024 because of that. And so I think that, while Republicans, I believe, are accurate in that they don't see this as much of a threat this year, it could be a real threat to them in 2024. Democrats will have a very unified message, which is, look, we believe in federal protections for abortion rights. We at least believe states should preserve abortion rights, and it's wrong not to include exceptions for rape and incest. Meanwhile, you're going to have Republicans jockeying with each other over who is more pro-life than the next and whether or not these exceptions are valid. And you're going to have stories of possibly stories of women who, wanted to obtain an abortion for, because of a rape, maybe a child who was the victim of incest. They couldn't. They had to travel out of state. It was financially onerous. And Democrats are going to be able to point all of this out, and it might work for them. So I think this, is sort of issue that cuts both ways, and we'll have to see where it heads.
Well, David, thank you so much for being here today. You can get more reporting from David and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.